Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. I'm Raquel and I'm the colorist behind Teacupsandart. Today I'm going to talk about how to color snow. I had finished this coloring and I received a lot of comments asking, how did you color the snow? What did you use to create the white effect? Can we get a tutorial on this? So here it is, a short tutorial showing exactly how I colored the snow. Luckily, I accidentally bought the book Magical Worlds twice, so I can use the same illustration for my demonstration. Now, the brand Woomer was kind enough to send me a set of their 72 colored pencils, so I also want to use this video to show that it doesn't matter what brand of pencils you have, you can always recreate something similar with the supplies you already own. My original piece was colored with my trusted Prismacolor and Polychromos pencils, but now I'll try to find similar colors and recreate my coloring with this beautiful pencil set. Here you can see the colors I used in my original coloring. Now I'll try to find the shades that come closest in the Woomer set. Sometimes the colors won't match exactly, and that's totally fine. For some colors, like the lightest blue, I don't mind if it looks a bit different. But for others, like the darkest blue, I prefer having a subtle purple undertone. So in the Woomer set, I'll pick the blue that's the closest and then layer a red-violet over the ultramarine blue to get that purplish effect. This is also a fun way to experiment with your pencils. You don't always need to find the exact same color. Sometimes layering two shades can help you recreate the tone you're aiming for. I start by mapping out the snow with my 2B Staedtler pencil, which is just a regular graphite pencil and quite soft. I also sketch in the small path I added to create extra texture. Once I've drawn these details, I use a kneaded eraser to lighten the lines. This ensures that when I go over them with colored pencils, the graphite won't be too visible. Otherwise, the gray lines might still show through, which isn't always the effect you want. Now that the sketch lines are lighter, I can start coloring. I begin with my darkest color, applying it under all the lines I initially drew with the graphite pencil. I don't do this everywhere, since I also want to add some pink in certain areas. This dark pencil creates the shadows, making it look like there's a little buildup of snow on the snow-covered ground, if that makes sense. Then, in the open spaces I left, I use the same technique but with a pink pencil, only applying it under the lines to help define them. Next, with my green pencil, I attempt to create a reflected light effect, but as I'm coloring, I realize that the tone isn't quite the same as in my original snow drawing. So I decide to skip the green, because as Bob Ross would say, there are no mistakes, only happy little accidents. Instead of green, I'll switch to a yellow pencil for the rest of the snow, so you can go ahead and put that green pencil away. Then, using my second darkest color, I blend out the dark blue shadow, softening and fading it downward. I always start with a light touch and gradually build up my layers so I can carefully judge whether the effect is what I want. If I go in too dark right away, it's harder to erase or adjust. For the path I drew, I'll simply leave it the color of the paper so that it looks brighter compared to the light blue snow around it. I continue blending with my two other blue pencils, creating a gradient from dark to light, from top to bottom. Now, the Woomer colored pencils are an absolute dream to work with. They're soft and buttery and they work beautifully on this paper from Johanna's newest book Magical Worlds. They just glide over the paper and that makes blending and layering a breeze. The pigments are also really impressive. The colors are vibrant and pop nicely. Plus, with the 72 colors in the set, you get a great variety. There's a nice balance of bright shades, softer tones and some good neutrals too. Another big plus is that they're pretty affordable, making them perfect if you're just starting out. So yeah, they're definitely a fun set to play around with. Once I've placed all my shadows and blended everything smoothly, I go in with some pink and yellow here and there to add extra dimension. This can look like reflected light, but it also makes the blue and white tones of the snow more visually interesting. Now, to really make the small mounds of snow stand out, it helps to color a larger part of the drawing first. White pops much more against a colored area than it does against an uncolored white page. So off camera, I quickly colored the 2 bushes so the white acrylic pens will stand out better. So now we're going to hide the top black outlines using white acrylic markers. This requires several layers because the acrylic markers aren't always fully opaque. So I usually apply about 3 to 5 layers until the snow looks properly bright white. This part takes a little patience since you have to wait for each layer to dry before adding another. But I think it's worth it because the whiter the snow, the better the final result. I also want to make the grass blades look like they've been snow covered, so I add short white strokes to create the illusion of frost on them. And that's how I colored the snow. Of course, there are 1,000 ways to color snow, but this is the technique I used for this coloring. I hope it's helpful. And that's it for today's video. If you try out this technique, feel free to tag me on Instagram so I can see your work. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy coloring! See you next time! Bye!